We're live. Sweet. But no, yeah, so that druggy thing. And no, it's not just the druggy trap thing. Like there's certain people who just are jaded. Like
Yeah.
there's a buddy of mine, and I won't say who because he's like one of my closest friends, and you know who you are because you say this shit to me all the fucking time. I'm pointing directly at you, motherfucker. But like he has like a real thug background, and like every once in a while he'll be like, "Yo, dude, I really feel like making like a gangster song, like about straight up gang banging." And I gotta be honest with you, I don't know if you could do it with me. Like, I might put you on the song, but you can't be all about positivity and helping people if we do this gangbanger track. And I'm like, what the fuck?
That's like, yeah, man. That's like a lifestyle and like a personality. That's not something you just switch. Like, I don't gangbang. I'm not gonna make gangbanging songs. Like,
Yeah, like I cannot compromise myself that fucking much. And it it also like it gets under my skin just a tiny bit. I mean, not just when that dude says it, but when anybody says something like that about me, where they say like, "Oh, you're too positive. I can't fuck with your music because it's too happy. It's not gangster enough. That's not what rap is about." And I'm like, "Do you know hip hop? Do you know your history?"
and that's just like who said it? Like Post Malone or Lil Xan or something.
Is that okay? Is that gonna bother your
Nah,
ass?
that's fine. But like, who was it? Like Post Malone or like Lil Xan or someone said like hip hop's not what you listen to when you want to feel something. And like, I think that as a statement is totally incorrect. There's Kalen Raps, NF, Whit Lowry, Marlon Craft. There's a handful of people you listen to that will make you feel something in hip hop, and that's like
Jeff Turner, he's another guy.
Jeff
He's
Turner.
very
Yeah,
underrated, but he's amazing when it comes to like emotional expression. He really talks about some deep feelings.
and that's just something like as far as like collaborating with an artist goes, like you have to understand like even Tech Nine was I just saw a post on Instagram about Tech Nine talking about trying to get an NF feature
Mm-hmm.
and like way different styles of music.
Well, Tech Nine,
And
another
obviously
example of
Tech
an
Nine would
emotional rapper. He's all these songs about his
exactly.
depression and his darkness. But yeah, so you keep going. The NF feature.
Yeah, but like, Tech Nine would never hit up NF and be like, all right, but you can't be on like the NF shit,
Yeah,
Like
you can't do
I want
what
to do a
you
song with you,
do.
but you can't be you. Like that's as far as collaborating goes, there has to be give and take on both sides. Not everyone makes the same style of music, and if you want to work with another artist who makes slightly different music, like my shit's real. It's not about drugs. I mean, I mentioned drugs and stuff, and that's from personal experience. I have used drugs. I don't glorify it. I don't promote it to
You're like telling
kids.
stories about your past.
Yeah,
You're
it's
trying to be real
where
with the
I've been,
people.
who I've been, where I was, who I was. Not
Mm.
everyone go do drugs because I did them.
Exactly, exactly. And that's
And
kind
that's
of what these trap rappers are doing. So like when you were
yeah.
talking about before we went live about there's that buddy of yours who you like his music but you could never really fuck with him on a like a you could never do a song with him because you can't put yourself in that mind state of like that little pump song Gucci Gang. Like the
Yeah.
chorus of that song is Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, and then it repeats that same phrase 5 more times. And
Yep.
my bitch love do cocaine.
My bitch love do cocaine.
Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, and it's like
Yep.
that's the chorus where he's just glorifying the fact that the girl he's dating is a coke whore, and like I don't know, like I feel the same way. Where like there are certain mindsets that I can't put myself into. I could if I tried. Like I could easily become a drug addict and a piece of shit. But
Right.
like I have a strong sense of ethics and like a strong just sense of self where it's like that's not me. I look at other people doing that crap and I'm like I'm not that guy.
See,
There's never
and
gonna be a time when I can say honestly that I'm that guy. I would be faking it if I did that shit.
right, and I don't want to like. I never really put down people's lifestyles. You do what you want to do. Everyone will. Everyone always has. That's how the world goes. And I've seen people who do drugs consistently and function just fine. Straight A's in school. A kid I went to middle school with apparently was doing all sorts of pills and all sorts of crazy shit. He graduated from middle school and high school with straight A's the entire time he was doing drugs. And I'm like,
Wow.
I've seen people succeed in that, so I would
Yeah,
never,
functioning addicts.
I
Yeah.
never put it down. But I mean, even if you do drugs, like do your drugs, but keep it, behind closed doors. You don't have to glorify it for everyone else and make it seem like that's what people are supposed to be doing.
And then put other people down for not doing it. Like I got into a beef with this dude on Facebook recently, and usually I don't fuck with social media. Like I try
Yeah.
to avoid it because I think it's toxic. But like there's okay, so I shared a meme. Usually if I'm ever on social media, it's either looking at porn stars on Twitter because it's interesting. I don't jack off on Twitter, for fuck's sake. If I'm gonna masturbate, I'll go look like a real 40-minute long, like an adult, and watch it on the TV. But no, I'm kidding, I don't do that. But I'm saying like, if I'm ever on social media, I'm doing it for silly reasons. I'm doing it just to fucking goof off. Like I'm following weird people on Twitter, funny people, people who are like in the sex world, and then on Facebook it's just funny memes, or I'm promoting my music, like posting about something.
Right.
So I'll shit post a funny meme just because something I thought was funny, and I shared this meme where it was like a compilation picture of like 7 different trap rappers, and it was all of the ones who have like the weird bubblegum pink dreadlocks and like the cotton candy blue, and it's like if you have hair that looks like this, you're 317% likely to have music that's fucking shit. And somebody got really pissed off. This dude who I don't know him that well, but he's someone that I've like sort of kind of worked with in the past. He's another rapper here in the Springs.
Okay.
He got so offended by this post. He fucking went out of his way to pull out his phone and type up like when people comment on the internet, they actually have to type it. You actually have to sit there and twiddle your thumbs out to write this shit out.
You have to feel strongly enough about someone else's opinion to
actually open your mouth and say something. And it's not as easy as speaking, because when you speak, words can flow out of your mouth without you realizing what you're saying. When you're typing something on the internet, you have to actually press the keys and make the letters and write the words. So his comment was, well, yeah, well, if you don't like their music, then you're 1,000,000% likely to never make any money, and they're always going to be richer than you. And I was like,
I mean,
what the fuck?
Yeah, they are making a lot of money right now, but that's not always going to be popping. It wasn't popping in the past, and it is now, but maybe it won't be. You know, the one thing that
10 years from now, it will not be popular 10 years from now. That's a guarantee. That's how trends work.
The one thing that has stood through the industry is real music.
Exactly.
Real hip hop will always be there. Real hip hop heads will always be out there. And I mean, like I said, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was listening to Lil Pump on the way here. Like, I played a Lil Pump song. I don't care. I do it every now and again because it's like, it's not what I listen to when I'm like feeling something, but every now and again, yeah, you play a song, man.
No, that's not even that bad. You wanna know what I was listening to when you first pulled up?
Oh shit.
A fucking Miley Cyrus song. I like this shit. Okay, like people like I talk shit about certain pop stars. Like I hate Taylor Swift, and people assume when I talk about that I just don't like pop music or like I'm anti-woman or some bullshit. And it's like, no, I'm not a misogynist. I don't hate pop music. I just don't like certain artists. There are other artists that I do like.
I listen to Halsey all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Halsey's tight.
Some people just have a good voice. They know how to sing. Like I don't go out of my way to listen to Adele. But I've heard a few of her songs, and I could definitely respect her voice. She's got some
Adele's
pipes.
talented.
She can sing. Same thing with Miley Cyrus. She can fucking sing, and she's not like. I think some of her songs are interesting. Like the one I was listening to is called "F.U." where she was like really pissed off and saying "fuck you" to somebody, and it was like that.
Fair enough.
I don't listen to a lot of Miley Cyrus. There's like 3 songs of hers that I like, but they're songs that are different than your average pop music.
Yeah.
And so going back to what you were saying a minute ago, real music will always stand out.
And that's what, like, yeah, I mean, it's easy to jump on a wave. Like, we saw so many people do it, especially in the past couple of years. Like, it's easy to jump on a wave, and if you jump on the wave, you're more likely than not gonna make some sort of impact. Like, all these rappers, they made the exact same type of music. And again, I don't hate on it. I listen to Lil Xan on the way here. I listen to Lil Pump on the way here. Like, I listen to it, but it's just not my cup of tea. I wouldn't make that music because I'm just on a different. I'm on a different mind wave than they are, in a different mind state than they are. So I'm, you know, that's the thing is like even when I write a song about partying, I throw some real aspects in there. You know, it's not all just partying and great stuff. You know, like there's real shit about it, and there's always real shit to everything. And I think diminishing that is just making people ignorant. You know, it's the more you diminish the real values in things, is the less people are going to care about things. And then now everyone just thinks it's like dope to sip lean. I've sipped lean, dude. I used to sip lean.
I've tried
cool.
it.
Yeah,
I didn't feel anything from it. I thought it was really boring.
I mean, it's whatever. You know, people do shit, but again, I sipped lean and I didn't hop on a song and be like sipping lean. You know.
Well, I mean, like I can understand the mentality of liking lean a lot because all lean is a different form of opiate. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I wasn't doing the gun to my head thing. That was just my fingers on my forehead. I'm saying that to the audience because it like you got to be careful what gestures you do because it looks like I'm doing that. I'm not. I just had my finger on my forehead. So I used to have a pill addiction.
And I've never
too.
spoken about this before. So this is the first time anybody's heard of this. I used to be like stupid addicted to pills back
Yeah.
when I was like 18. There was this period about like 3 or 4 months where I was just like popping hydrocodone and Vicodin and shit like that.
Oh yeah, me
And
as well.
The way it made me feel was like really strange, kind of dark, and just not myself. So I can see like if they're sipping lean all the time, whatever it's doing to them, whatever persona it's bringing out of them, it's not real. 100% not real. It's the opiate being in control.
Right. I mean, I
Like-
used to, like I said, I used to take pills as well, and it was the same thing. You just feel
Different.
out of your element
Yeah,
in a different
exactly.
element.
Yeah,
And
you
so
feel
it's
like somebody else is in control. Like you have a new personality all of a sudden, and that's like the opiate.
yeah. I mean, at some point, everyone's gonna hit the point where it's not cool anymore, and like. Shit, I mean, if not, like that's cool, and if you can get through your life and do everything you need to do and not live on the streets doing it, like more power to you, and you're more than welcome to do it. But I mean, like a couple months ago, it was probably about a year ago at this point. I finally like hit a point. I'd flushed an entire prescription of pills down the toilet, and I was like, "Fuck, dude!" Like, because if not, if you keep them, you're just gonna take them. Everyone knows that. You'll take them.
You have to just
Inevitably, you're gonna
not be
take
around
them.
it.
Get them away. That's not something that's just easily accessible. You have to hit someone up for it. You know, if you have them laying around the house and you're just like having a bad day or something, you're just like, fuck it. Like,
See, that's the
Get
fucked up
fucked
thing when it comes to like hard drugs, like pills or like opiates, especially. Once you have it, it's always around, and it for whatever reason will just start magically falling in your lap.
you know.
It's just always available. But the second you actually push it out of your life, it's really hard to get it back.
And that's where you
Like-
see people that see your best interest as well. Because I mean, I had people just bringing me pills and like giving me fucking pills, and I was like, obviously at the time I was like, that's fucking dope. But then like looking back on it, seeing that like I clearly like, had some sort of issue to some degree. If you're taking them every day, whether you admit it or not, you have a problem. That's an issue. Taking them every day, all day when you don't need them is an issue. Like
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
you're strung out or not, it's a problem. And you know, people seeing that and then just providing it. I try not to be that guy to people. If I see someone struggling with something, like for instance, if someone had a cocaine addiction, I'm not going to walk up and put cocaine on the table in front of them. Like, you want go? Like, everyone breaks. Everyone has a point. Not everyone's willpower stands all the time, you know. And that's, you know, it's just that's where you start to realize who people are and how.
Who cares about you and who doesn't?
Right? Yeah.
Because like there are people who, like you were saying, like they'll just give you the drugs because they don't give a fuck about you. And at the time, you're like, oh, you're my friend. You care about me.
But see, they may not even see it as bad because they're like, he likes pills. I got pills. Like,
Yeah, and then as soon as you stop it, there are some people who will be like, oh, come do a pill with me. I don't care if you're trying to quit. And then there'll be other people who are like, no, he's trying to quit. I'm
yeah,
gonna
like, I'll go do
not
my pills
influence
and hit
him.
him up tomorrow.
Like I'm having the same thing happen to me right now with drinking, where I'm starting to see like who's really there for me and who's not. Because like I started the process of quitting alcohol like 3 months ago. I've been trying to quit for like a year, but it just
it's
had such a hold of me. It's a monster. So I finally got to this point where, I mean, I wasn't sober for the whole 3 months, but I had like almost all but stopped drinking for like 3 months.
Right.
And I have a couple of friends who I've told them I'm not drinking as much anymore. I'm trying to not drink as much.
And they'll
I'm
call
trying
you
to
up. Let's
quit.
go get a beer.
Yeah, let's go to the
Right.
bar. Come on. Like last night someone hit me up and he was like, hey, I miss hanging out with you, man. Let's go to a bar. I want to get your ass drunk. And I'm like,
I don't want to be drunk.
no. I couldn't even say anything to him. I just had to not respond and be like, actually I did. I'm like, I can't come out tonight, dude. I'm in the studio. Because I was working on a song last night and I could feel it in my gut, like this wicked temptation to say, fuck the song, go do the bullshit, go drink. And I didn't because I know that that's not right. I finally realized that you can't waste your life being numb all the time. Like you're constantly looking
Right.
for an escape from reality. No, you have to confront reality. You have to go and look at the things that you're afraid to look at, like within yourself, your inner darkness, the
Exactly,
uncomfortable emotions that you don't feel like feeling, the things that you don't feel like doing. You have to go do that shit at some point, or you die in a puddle of your own filth.
And I mean, yeah, for anyone who's ever listened to my music, like they understand, like everyone's gonna feel pain. I've never met a single person in their entire life who has just gone through life completely without any pain or issues or struggles. Everyone goes through shit, and I have never been a stranger to that. And yeah, for anyone who's listening to my music, you know that I talk about it, but I always bring the lighter into it. The only person stopping you from doing better or changing is you. you can sit there and say, I'm quitting drinking, and then drink a bottle every night. Are you quitting drinking?
No, you're not.
You're not quitting drinking.
You're not holding yourself accountable.
And you have a rough day at work, like, I want a beer. You have to take the step to not drink that beer. You have to, you have actions you don't like that you need to change. You have to take the step. When you see that situation, instead of reacting how you have, and like we were talking about earlier, back to the whole anger thing, when you grow up as a kid who just gets pissed off at everything, you got the whole world to be angry at, everything pisses you off. As you try to get out of that, it's difficult to not have your first reaction to get pissed off at something. When something happens, you instinctively, as a person, everyone follows their instincts, and when you learn something over time, it becomes a pattern, and it gets to the point where when you are in a situation, your very first instinct is to get pissed off because that's what you know and that's what you've done and who you've been your whole life. So taking those steps to just, sit when a situation comes up, you have to make the change. You have to take the mental steps to look at it and be like, I would get pissed off here, but I need to, I don't like getting pissed off at everything, so I need to do something about it. Because then you'll just get pissed off, apologize, and then it's the same fucking situation.
I read something. Yeah, I read something about that a few years ago. It was this book on psychology. I forget the author. It was talking about how to deal with trauma and how to change mental patterns. So when you're traumatized, when something upsets you to the point that it becomes ingrained in your person, it's like a path in the woods. If you've ever been out on a hike, I mean, we live in Colorado. I'm sure you've been to this wonderful nature we have out here. So if you've ever seen like a nature-made path, one that the animals have made, it's like the plants and the trees have all been trotted down until there's an actual groove in the dirt.
Right, yeah.
And that's what happens with your mind. If you keep having the same thought processes and the same thought patterns, it'll eventually will create this groove, this path in your mind that's like a deep ditch. And you every time you're going straight on the path, you kind of go across that ditch and you sink down into it, and then you're on that path again. So in order to change that, you have to notice yourself on that literally beaten path. Like in your brain, it's been engrooved into you, like someone carved it out in your mind. You have to notice yourself on that path and then change the direction. You have to hold yourself accountable for what's going on and notice okay, through mindfulness. And by mindfulness, I mean being aware of what's going on in the moment with yourself and what's around you. So through mindfulness and just through simple awareness, going okay, right now we're in a room, we're having a conversation. That's mindfulness of this moment. So if you're mindful like that and you practice that mindfulness, you'll notice yourself in those thought patterns and on those paths in your brain. And then you can take the steps to get out of it. But you actually have to hold yourself accountable for what's going on in this moment. You can't just let things happen willy-nilly while you're off thinking about 2 years ago. Some people are so caught up in their heads that they're never in the moment.
And I get it is hard to let go of pain, but like you said, as long as you hang on to it, you're going to be in that position. And I mean, self-awareness is a huge just topic in the world, and it's a huge topic to me just from my personal experiences in life. And the full-length album I'm working on now, you'll find that as a very repeating topic in the album.
What's that called, by the way?
We don't have an official name for it yet.
Okay, it's still untitled.
Yeah, it's still
untitled feature album from Trevor Vandervoort.
We're about to get into the mixing mastering state for it. So yeah, it's just
it's about more personal experiences from you.
Yeah, there's a lot of just repeating topics revolving around self-awareness and just changes I've made as a person and changes that everyone can make. You just have to do the work, and it's not easy. It sucks. There's going to be times where you just want to say fuck it. Like I was doing fine 3 years ago and I was drinking every day, but I wasn't. Is the fact of it. You got to take the steps and be a better person. And like I said, it's all possible. Anyone can change if they want to. And that's the thing, is just being aware of your issues and your problems, because I know everyone has them. And if you're aware of them to yourself, that's the first step in getting past them. You have to work on shit. And I've been doing a lot of self-work, and this album there's been a lot of setbacks, a lot of time, a lot of stress, tears, pain, all sorts of shit has gone into this album. And it's going to be, something I hope opens people's eyes just to understanding, A, themselves, and B, just it takes time. Everything takes time, and everything takes work. If you want to get to the level you want to be at, you have to push yourself. You can't stop. You can't give up when a day is hard. I know, and like I said, I still get pissed off. I have a hard day and I'm like, fuck this, fuck that, like I quit. And then the next day you wake up and you're like, shit, like I was being a bitch yesterday. Pretty much, you gotta just step back and buck up and push yourself to do more and more until you're finally where and who you want to be.
Okay, so that goes into this thing that I've been doing a lot lately. So it's a combination of two things. There's this thing I've heard Joe Rogan say where he talks about conquering your inner bitch.
Right.
It's that part of you that wants to quit, that part of you that gets upset, that complains, that is just a bitch. And then there's this meme I saw on Facebook like a year and a half ago that was both hilarious and brilliant, and I've always like held that in my heart ever since I saw it because anyway, so the meme was I forget the picture, but it was some guy with like a what the fuck kind of face, and the caption said, "Whenever I find myself getting upset, I say it smells like bitch in here now. It smells like bitch in here now." I say that to myself, and I've been doing that to myself ever since I saw that in combination with like Rogan's philosophy, because like the way Rogan put it, I heard it, I understood it, but I didn't quite incorporate it. That meme really solidified it for me, that there really is something, the inner bitch is a real thing, and you do have to conquer it. It's like the weakness in yourself, the child, the one that doesn't believe you can do it, the doubt, the fear, all of those negative self qualities that cause you to fail, that hold you back. You have to beat that bullshit out of yourself, both physically and mentally.
See, and that's why you always got to be prepared to take in information because, like you said, you got it from a meme is what made you fully understand it. And inspiration can come from the littlest things, such as memes on Facebook.
Yeah, and the oddest
everyone
sources,
looks
yeah.
at them, and you see one, and it could make you realize something, like something that everyone else is laughing at. You're like, oh shit, like for real.
Okay, I'm sorry to slightly change topic here. We can, please don't let me meander all the way. Let's circle back around to this. I want to keep going on this, but that reminded me of that article I was reading this morning. The one I told you about when you first got here.
Yeah.
So like, there was this article that someone posted on like Slate. You can go look it up for yourself if you want. It's called Joe Rogan's Galaxy Brain, and it's like 10 pages long of like the wordiest, most pretentious hate speech about Joe Rogan. Now, like, whether you like him or don't like him, or whether you maybe some people don't even know who the fuck he is, which I'm shocked by, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to know who he is. I just realized one of the reasons why that article pissed me off so much was because of the author's view, like his state of mind when writing this article was rejecting sources of information based on someone's politics or their supposed or perceived beliefs and this and that. And so, like, going back to what you just said, information can come from anywhere.
Right.
So you're going to reject this author from this article. He completely rejects the Joe Rogan podcast for this reason or that reason, complete prejudice. And it's like, so you're going to reject sources of information through prejudice? Like, it may be that Joe Rogan is a nutball and his podcast is strange. I'd say that completely. He's a stand-up comedian and he talks about a bunch of random shit. There's no direction to his show.
Right.
If you don't understand it, no one does. He doesn't even understand it. It's the same
He
thing
just
with
does it.
yeah. The same thing with this show. I'm a nutball and we talk about whatever the fuck we want on this show just because I can or we can. And we're like, I think you just say whatever you want as long as it doesn't get us in trouble. You know, like I've actually I've shut certain people down for talking about some things that are just not okay, and I'll tell you about that off air. But for the most part, there's really nothing you can't talk about on this show.
Right.
The same thing with Rogan's podcast, and I think the beauty in that is that you could get a golden gem of information from the oddest source. It could be a random stand-up comedian who's not that smart. It could be some crazy guy like Alex Jones who is literally insane and believes nonsense. But maybe one thing he says has a little bit of truth to it, and you actually have to go look into that one thing, or maybe he has a good point that kind of changes how you look at something. So yeah, just you have to keep an open mind and be willing to take in information from anywhere. So that goes back to what you just said. Yeah.
As far as even going off to write hate speech about someone, like really, you have no stance on anything without understanding the opposition's point of view.
Oh yeah.
What are you standing for? If you can't even listen to what the other side is, then how do you know what you're standing up for or against? It's like
then that was the other reason why that article pissed me off, because this person clearly had not taken the time to listen to what this show was about and
Right.
really understand the viewpoints of not just the host but the guests. He was coming at it from a biased point of view and looking for nuggets and examples of things that support his bias.
Yeah, and whether you like it or not, or agree or not,
You can't do that. You
There's-
can't go at it from a bias because
there's no loss in listening to it.
Exactly. Exactly.
What are you going to lose? 5 minutes of your day? Like, whether you agree or not, there's no loss in listening to information from another source or a different point of view. Because maybe, like I said, you don't agree with the goddamn thing they say, but
You could learn something from it.
right, and you could maybe that could enhance your stance on whatever you stand on. Doesn't mean you should put other people down about not standing for it, but as far as listening to other people and just taking in knowledge from any source you can get it from, there's no loss in learning. Like, there's not, you'll have only something to gain from that.
And I mean, I'm no expert on sociology or like how groups of people work, but it seems to me that in today's society we have a real problem with open-mindedness about information.
Yeah.
Everybody has a bias and an agenda, and they're all going to imright.com to support their beliefs, and then they're shit posting and making fun of anybody who doesn't believe what they believe, and then calling that social justice.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about the liberal side. The fucking conservative side does that too. With your left, right, center, up, down, hell, heaven, whatever the fuck. They're all doing it. The majority of people are so caught up in what they believe and fighting for what they believe and putting everybody else down that nobody can have an open discussion anymore.
See, and that's a big part of what's influenced me to not give a shit anymore. Like, not that I don't care about things, and not that you should not care about things. You should always care about things. But as far as what guy outside's doing or dude upstairs or downstairs is doing, like, I live your life until something is directly affecting you. If it's not worth wasting your energy to go argue with someone who's not going to listen to your point, not going to take in what you have to say or do anything,
Pardon me. There's a dab right here.
Oh.
That was a weird, like, kind of reach angle. I'm not reaching into your crotch, I swear.
It's all dabs.
But I just remembered that this was there. Anyway, keep talking. This is a brilliant point.
Shit, I lost my place, man. I don't even know.
Or just that people can't have an open discussion anymore.
Oh,
They're all
yeah.
so biased.
That's what I mean. I've noticed myself on Facebook a couple times. I see something and I go write a comment, and then I'm like, before I even post it, I just read it again. I'm like, this isn't worth my time. Just delete the whole comment, and I'm like, move on with my day. I don't care. Because all I know is 10 people are going to hop on that post and say some stupid shit back because social media is just a game. It's a meme now. Social media itself is a meme. So if you say something on anyone's post, whether it's logical, illogical, or truly just trying to inform, people are going to hate on it. So I just move on with my day, man. Keep scrolling. You write a comment, delete it, keep scrolling. Like,
that's how I look at the internet nowadays. Like, it's one big joke.
Yeah.
And everybody who's like taking it seriously and thinking like, oh, well, I made this tweet, I made a big statement, me, like, oh, dude, I'm laughing at that. Like, you think that you just made a good point and that you're like changing the world with your wonderful 160 character tweet or your Facebook post, and like, I'm laughing my ass off reading it because you think reality is. You think this shit matters. You think reality is real. Like, we're in a dream right now.
I've tried to tell multiple people on multiple occasions that, like,
none of this shit matters.
You can go to Facebook and post whatever you want and say whatever you want. Like, fact of the matter is, people don't care. Like, you say whatever you want, no one gives a shit. And they're going to scroll right by and say, fuck it. Or they're going to comment something stupid on it. Or, no one gives a shit what you're saying on the internet.
Exactly.
It's not the place to be relevant or have good things to say, honestly.
Okay, so just to play the devil's advocate, I have to backpedal, go back on something that I just said, and counter what you just said. I think there's a place on the internet for truth, because there are some people who are using the internet to spread good information that's not funny and that is very informative. So there's a place on the internet to spread truth and to actually use it for good.
That is true.
But let's say 99% of the internet is a big joke.
Yeah.
And that if you do take the joke, if you take the majority of the internet seriously, then you're falling for the joke.
Right.
It's like a prank, and you're falling for it because like none of this shit actually matters in a real world sense. And I mean, I'm not saying that things that happen online don't have implications in the real world, because they do. You could get deplatformed off social media, and then now all of a sudden you're broke. Because some people like are making millions of dollars online, then they get deplatformed, and now they're making no money. That's what happened to Alex Jones. And they're like, I don't support or not support Alex Jones. He's just an example of somebody who lost all of his money because they took him off the internet. So like the internet does have some impact on the real world, but I'm talking about like it shouldn't affect your emotions. What somebody said online should not be upsetting you.
Exactly. If you spend even 5 minutes upset about something you see on the internet, that is when you've already read too much into it.
I mean, honestly, outside the internet, if somebody says or does something in real life, it shouldn't upset you, unless it's like something so dramatic and so drastic that it makes sense to be upset about it.
Right.
Like, I have a vendetta against child molesters.
Well,
because
you should.
they're bad people. And, like, I mean, I was abused as a kid. I probably talk about that too much on this show. It doesn't matter. I don't like that happened to me. But that's not the reason why I have a vendetta against kid abusers specifically. For the most part, I've done what I can to not be upset about what happened to me. Now I just get upset when I hear about people hurting kids because that's wrong to do that.
Yeah.
If
absolutely.
a friend of mine got beat up at a club, I'd get pissed at the people that beat him up because it's wrong to do that. If God forbid a friend of mine got raped, I would be really mad at their rapist. Or if somebody like assaulted me, I'd be pissed at the person who assaulted me. So like, you going back to holding yourself accountable for things. When you get upset about something, you have to sit there and self-analyze for half a second, a nanosecond. Go, why is this upsetting me? Is this worth it? Like going back to what you said a minute ago, you're typing a comment on Facebook and you self-analyze. You reread the comment and you go, that's not worth my time to even think that thought. And you just delete it.
Right. I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, forget it. It's so easy to be a good person. Just think for 2 seconds about what you're doing and what will be an outcome of that. It's so easy to make good decisions and obviously it's easier to follow the bad ones because it might take a little bit of self-restraint or focus to make the right one, but being a good person should come naturally. Like, it's not a difficult task. It's not anything you need to be trained for. Like, I've seen people raised in horrible situations. They were raised awful. They had a terrible upbringing, and now they're respectful. They have their own family, very respectable people. And, like, you know, that's been through gangs. You've been through all sorts of shit. But still, here they are. They were never taught how to be a good person. They were taught horrible things. And then now here they are being a good person because it just comes with common sense. It comes with self-awareness. Just thinking for 2 seconds about what you're doing or what you're saying can change everything. And, you know, there's no reason to just, like, start senseless bullshit. Like, and I get it in hip-hop. Hip-hop's a pretty cutthroat industry, and people love beef. And they love watching beef. But
it's become that way.
Yeah,
if you know your history, hip-hop didn't start that way. Hip-hop started with a positive message and became associated with the dark aspects
just, like,
of
beefing with people and stuff. And that's all these SoundCloud rappers. They're friends one day. They'll drop a song, and then 2 days later they'll drop diss tracks on each other, and then blows up the whole internet. They just hate each other. They're talking shit all over the internet. Like, for what? What's the purpose of? I think it's zero beef with anyone in the industry because everyone I've met, like, whether we agree on everything or we make different types of music, or even if I like their music, I have no beef. I wouldn't go on to be like, oh, fuck their music, they're trash. Like, I see these dudes all the time, like Soulja Boy, especially right now. He's just, like, bashing on everyone, and I'm like, what's the purpose of that? To just go on all your interviews and start talking shit about people? Like, imagine if everyone just promoted a little bit, you know, instead of just hating on everything everyone else does. Maybe look into something someone does and promote it slightly.
Okay, so 3 things. So, responding to the first thing you were talking about, I agree completely that being a good person should come naturally. And that's something that I learned on psychedelics. I think there's several times, several different acid trips where I experienced a physical sensation where it felt bad, like it hurt my body to be bad or think bad. Like, if I did something that was morally wrong or negative, it hurt me. And it was, like, painful and uncomfortable. And then if I did something or felt something or thought something positive, it felt good. I had this, like, sense of healthy goodness in my body. I was like, wow, I feel like $1 million. Like, I could run a mile. And the thinking did that. Like, it was all thought oriented. Like, honestly, I couldn't even take it to the action stage. Like, I don't think I could bring myself to commit a bad act on acid because it would hurt too much in my body. So, like, I don't think that's just the psychedelic. I think the psychedelic just enhances what's already happening. So what people don't notice in their day-to-day lives is that your thoughts are actually affecting your body like that.
Yep.
Your negative thoughts are damaging your body. Your positive thoughts are enhancing your body. So good action, being a good person, should come naturally because it's literally making you feel good. It's keeping you alive.
Right.
Whereas being a bad person is literally killing you.
See,
it's
when-
destroying your body.
And like I said, when you have all this like stress on you, especially like when you're just doing bad shit all the time and you don't care about anyone or anything, like no matter how many times someone will say they feel no guilt or no stress about something, they do. And like, you know, and enough of that, like I said, with all the stress I've been through and like all the stress I used to hold, I had a really hard time letting all of it go when I needed to. And I would just hold on to all this stress and let it build up and build up. And like I said, I used to get like physically sick from it. I used to make myself sick all the time just from how stressed I was. And the second I stopped doing that, because I went to the doctors and I talked with them, and they said that I need to like cut back on it. And like, you know, I started taking steps to make the improvements and stop being so stressed, and you know, stop letting everything get to me so much. And you know, it does wonders for your actual health, your physical health, because even stress, as little as it is, it's a thought, it's a feeling, an emotion, and that can literally kill you.
Yeah, they can
Faster
do
than
all
drugs
kinds of
can,
weird
like,
things to your body. Like
Stress can
give
shut down your organs. Stress can make you sick. It can just
it can give you ulcers. It can
it'll
build up
tear you apart.
cortisol, that stress fat. There's like some people are like slightly overweight and they can't lose that little bit of belly fat no matter what they do. That's cortisol. That's stress fat. The reason your body won't get rid of that is because it doesn't know how. It literally doesn't know why that's there. Like cortisol forms because when we were like cavemen growing up on the Serengeti, evolving into modern man, like if we got stressed, it's because we were starving.
Right.
We got stressed because there was no kill around and no food to forage. So that's real stress. That's why the body builds up fat in stress. It's to keep you. It's actually to help keep you alive because the stress is killing you. And the body has that counteractive measure because back then you would die if you were stressed because you you had no food. You would starve to death. But nowadays we don't have that problem. They do in Africa, and that's a terrible joke. But it's also a literal horrible truth. They have that problem in like third countries, like third world countries. But here in America, we don't have to deal with that. Some people do. Most people in the modern world, in the middle class, first world problems. That's what I'm getting at.
Right.
If you have first world problems, you're fucking pathetic. Like you're getting stressed out about a comment on the internet. Meanwhile, Ubuntu in Africa hasn't seen a bowl of rice in 4 days.
Yeah, that's the sad truth, though.
It is.
It's
Like
a sad
people
truth,
get
though,
stressed
but-
out about the dumbest fucking things, and it's killing them. I think it's
See-
like that the body knows that what you're stressed out about is dumb, so it's like, okay, fuck this ass. The body doesn't even fuck with you. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna kill you off because I don't feel like dealing with your negativity.
See, and no matter
That's
the
a
reason,
joke, but-
like, even, you know, another sad truth of the world is that people are going to hurt people. Like, it just happens. People are going to hurt you. It's inevitable, but what you do with that can truly define you as a person. And, like, you know, again, that's another big topic of all my music is just what I've been through and, you know, just it's a story of my life and the shit I've dealt with. And
That's a really interesting point. I actually had a revelation about that on DMT one time. Have you ever done it?
I have not.
Have you ever done psychedelics?
Yes.
Okay, so you do know psychedelics.
I've
If you
taken-
ever get the chance, try a DMT at least once. For most people, one time is all you ever really will need. It's like doing it just once. It's a life-changing experience. I've done it about 50 times. And that I don't know. I'm a different person now than I was before because of all of that and many other reasons. But anyway, so there was this one time on DMT where I was listening to do you know Recognize?
Yes.
I want to transition into Recognize after this because I gotta address that just for a second because of what he did yesterday. Have you been following Recognize?
Yeah, I didn't see whatever he did yesterday, but yeah, I follow him on.
Okay, so anyway, on this DMT trip, usually I don't listen to music on DMT because it's distracting and it's uncomfortable.
Right.
Like with psychedelics, usually you do listen to music. It enhances the trip. Like on acid, you listen to Pink Floyd. That's just a thing. Or some kind of music. Music and acid go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's so beautiful. Sometimes you listen to music on mushrooms, sometimes not. Depends on how you're feeling. But with DMT, it's usually you shouldn't listen to music or watch TV or really do anything. You want it to be silent. At most, you could have like binaural beats, something like
Right.
just naturally, and it's supposedly supposed to enhance your pineal gland or your chakras or whatever you want to believe. But they do affect your mental frequencies. That's been proven. Binaural beats do
Yeah.
raise you and lower you from like alpha to beta to gamma, back down to theta and delta and epsilon, and then up to lambda, like the whole range of mental frequencies from epsilon to lambda. But so during this one DMT trip, I didn't do that. I was listening to one of Recognize's solo albums. It was Sunny Winter 1. And I mean, this is important just because of what happened during the trip. And I've actually talked to him in person about this. And now he and I, every time he comes to town, we'll sit and chat about DMT because it's like, I don't know. I still don't get the implications of it. But anyway, so usually on DMT, what you see is something not of this world.
Yeah.
You see something in another dimension, or many things in another dimension, or just something that you would never see in real life.
Right.
Not the way it's supposed to be. But during this one trip, I took the hit of DMT right when the song "Your Soul" started playing. You ever heard that song?
I can't say. I probably have, but I wouldn't know it by name.
It's a very
I
very
know it's like early shit.
yeah. So it was like right before they did Future Vintage. It's
Okay.
like a
Yeah.
5-track EP. If you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it. It's a good song. It's Your Soul by Recognize. The song is a very positive message where he's like, from my soul to yours, all love. Or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he says. But it's like, from one soul to another, all love. And so during the DMT trip, if you don't know, DMT lasts for about 3 to 5 minutes for the actual psychedelic portion, and then the come down lasts about 10 minutes. So it's about 15 minutes total. So when I was actually tripping, the song was playing, and what I saw was Recognize His soul appear before me, and he looked directly at me and said, I know what happened to you when you were a kid was terrible. It's one of the worst things that could happen to a person. But look at who you've become now. You're still a good person. And that's what matters. It doesn't matter that, you got this pain. You'll get over that. What really matters is that you've managed to still turn yourself into a decent human being despite your pain. So that's though I brought that up because of what you just said.
Damn, yeah.
So like how you deal with your trauma, how you deal with what happens to you is what defines you. So if you go through some horrible experience and you still come out on the other side as a good human being, it's not bitter at the world, and you still do good things for everybody else around you, that's what matters. It's like you beat that thing that tried to hurt you. You overcame it. You had such strong. You were impervious to it. You were impervious to that which tried to bring you down, and that made you even stronger than you thought you were.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, actually, feeding off that, I too saw a picture on Facebook that kind of opened my eyes because it said, just a reminder, you've survived 100% of your hardest days. And like, again, something on Facebook that opened my eyes. I was like, well, shit, that's true,
Mm-hmm.
So like, next time you're feeling down, just be like, well, did it last time, like I'm gonna do it again. You have to, as a person, you have to push forward and do that. It's not always the easiest thing, but it's the best thing always. That's no other way around it.
No, definitely.
You just gotta go. You can't ever stop. And it is okay to like reach out to people because I know a lot of people get in these zones and they get so low and they don't want to reach out to anyone or talk to anyone about it. Like that's only gonna damage you further. You cannot do everything by yourself.
Oh yeah,
no one ever could.
I've noticed like there's this thing that like mostly guys will do, like alpha types. They'll make fun of you for asking for help. It's like considered a weak trait to ask for help, and I'm like, I think it just depends on the circumstances. Like there may be times when asking for help and you shouldn't.
Right.
Or like asking for help is wrong because you can do it yourself and you're just being lazy.
But I mean, there's
been
plenty of times I've just called up one of my homies and just been like, hey, let's go have a beer. Like, let's go drink a beer and talk. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Just like stress and I need to like unstress and just like get myself out of that. And I'm just like, yo, let's just like chat and have a beer and you just talk about it and things generally come to light when someone else's point of view is involved that doesn't feel the same way about something. You know, if I'm like, oh, like fuck, dude, this happened, like fuck this, and then they're like, well, what about this and this, and I'm like, you know, it starts to kind of open your eyes, and like, well, fuck, maybe I don't need to be all upset about it. You know?
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
shit.
So like you do have to do some things alone in life, but for the most part, you're not supposed to go through life alone.
Right.
You got to be able to handle certain things on your own because
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
gonna. There are some times when you're not gonna have help, but there are other times when you really do need help, and people are afraid, especially with like psychological help. That's the real weird one. Like people
Yeah.
are always willing to ask for physical help. Like everybody wants you to help them move. Everybody's like, "Hey, can you help me carry these boxes?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure." But fucking, when it comes to psychological help, where it's like, "Oh, I think I might have a little trouble going on in my noodle," people are so scared to talk about that, and it's
yeah,
like,
and it's. I mean, everyone goes through it. Like
I
some
went through
certainly
that.
to more degrees, but everyone goes through mental shit. Or everyone, it's
Oh yeah,
you
like
can't avoid that.
I went through that for years, where not only was I going through like depression and anxiety, but like I couldn't ask for help in the right ways, and when I did, I didn't know how to like do it in a digestible way for other people.
Right.
Like it was off putting for them because like by the time I did ask for help, it was like so serious that they didn't know what to do. When I should have asked for help way sooner when the problem was smaller.
Right, and you don't have to build up to the point. But I mean, again, I've done that too. You know, you let it get so bad that you're just like, at that point, you feel helpless. You're like, I can't fucking come back from this. But then, like, it sucks to let it get that bad before you ask for help. But I mean, sometimes that's what you have to do. Like, it's like they say about like addiction and shit. The hardest part is admitting it.
They also say
If you do cocaine every day and tell yourself like, I don't have a problem, like you're gonna probably keep doing cocaine every day.
yeah,
When
exactly.
you realize, you tell yourself like, well, you know, maybe like, you know, I have a lot of friends that don't do cocaine every day, and that's like maybe weird that I do. You know, you start to think about it until you admit something like that, or like drinking. You know, I drink way more than everyone else. Like maybe there's a problem.
Yeah, like, and
It's something
people
you
are
gotta get to
telling you,
yourself.
dude, why are you drinking all the time? Maybe you shouldn't do that. Or, hey, don't do that around me, or you won't be allowed back over if you keep doing that. Like, when people start saying that shit to you,
Yeah, it's like
that's
the
when you
biggest
know
thing
you have
is
a
just
problem.
like focusing on your problems and acknowledging them to take care of them. Because you can't, like I said, the guy who does cocaine every day and says it's not a problem is not going to look at it as a problem, he's not going to stop it.
If you do anything every single day, you have to ask yourself, do I have a problem with this? Like, I work out every single day, and I gotta ask, am I addicted to it? But that's a healthy addiction. Some
Right.
addictions are healthy, where like it's like something that you can't stop doing, but it's good for you, so you should keep doing it.
Yeah, you
It's
might as well.
like making music is
Wow.
another one. I cannot stop making music, no matter what happens in my life. Or how many times I feel discouraged because a song didn't do well, or I didn't get enough good response on an album. Like, I'll never stop making music. There will never be a time when I can say like, "Oh, I'm done." Like it just, I can't.
Right.
I've been doing it for so many years, and I've put so much of myself into it that it just comes out of me. We were talking right before we started, when we
When
were
you get in
walking
the
down here.
writer's zone,
Yeah, you
yep.
get in that writer's zone, that flow state where
You
like
just
maybe
right, you don't
yeah,
stop.
yeah. Like you'll not write a line for, and I'm quoting you. You not write a line for like a week, and then you're in the shower, and all of a sudden the whole verse just flows out of you like water, and like it just goes. Like
You
that
never
happens
know
to me.
where. I carry a notebook with me and a pen everywhere I go.
Yeah,
Because I
same
never
here,
know,
same
man.
here.
I could be, even at work sometimes, I'll whip my notebook out and write something down real quick. I'm like, oh shit, like, I gotta get that before I forget it.
Oh yeah, like I have so many pages and pages of like unused lyrics that like
Yo.
maybe will never see the light of day, but something about this word form and like using words in this way
It
that we
was the
call
vibe,
rapping,
man.
it feels so important to me that I have to write it down because I might use it. A lot of times, if I'm having trouble writing a song, I'll go back to my old notebooks and find a verse from
Take
like
a
5
verse
years
or a
ago. Yeah,
one-liner or
a
something.
one
Just try to grab
usually it's the
something. You're like,
one-liners. Yeah,
you take a one-liner and you're like, that was fire. Like I could do something with that. And you start
yeah.
working it.
And you realize like that line was waiting for that song. Like you have this little nugget, and it was like you didn't know
It's
what you were
there.
gonna do with it when you first wrote it, but it was almost like meant to be.
It's like that weird tool or screw or something you hang on to for no reason. You throw it in your kitchen drawer.
And
You
then
have it for
5
no
years
reason,
down
and
the
then you
line,
find
you
something to do
actually
with it,
need
right?
to use it. Yeah, you're
You're
like,
like, holy
oh,
shit.
they don't even make these in stores anymore. Dude, no one has one of these. Oh, I'm fucking saved.
Well, while we're touching on the topic of music, I do want to go ahead and announce that I am dropping a 4-song EP called the Snowy Day EP on March 29th. Coming out, was that next Friday?
And that's on SoundCloud, right?
Yes, this will be available on SoundCloud. We'll post my link in the bio. Y'all can go check it out. Help me out with Unfolding, man. We're almost at 10,000 plays. We got to blow that shit up. So go check out the link below. Check all my music out. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments, send me messages, whatever. Check out my Instagram and stuff. We're always making music. We're always playing shows, blowing shit up. I'd love to get some more people following and, just connect with more artists, especially if you guys want to do work, hit me up. I'm always down to do features, always down to make songs. Music's a community, and the more we come together, the better it'll be.
And then, can I put your email or like your Facebook in the bio
Yeah,
too?
absolutely.
So yeah, in the description of this video, just like look down in there, and it'll be all his information. We'll get that worked out after we go up there.
Word.
And so for the last minute shit, because I'm sure you said you wanted to be out of here around now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
probably
to get out
wrap
of here
this
in a
up
few.
soonish. But I did want to touch on this for just a minute. Like recognize. So what he has been doing for the last 12 weeks, since the first week of this year, he's been writing a freestyle song and putting it out
every Wednesday.
Every fucking Wednesday. And they're
that man has
good.
twins right now.
Yeah, and he's raising newborn twins.
He's the hardest working man in the game.
And he just finished up 3 whole fucking albums.
And he's writing features right now.
And features and all this shit.
Features before they go on tour.
I have to fucking... If you don't know who Recognize is, go check out Recognize. Like, I'm always trying to promote the people that I like and I care about. So, like, I usually, like, try to raise up my friends because those are, like, the artists that I know and I work with, and also myself. If you don't know me, I'm Nameless. But Recognize really is, like, has the game on lock. I think he's, like, not only the most underrated rapper in the game right now, but he is poised to take the crown as maybe one of the best rappers in the fucking world. Because he just keeps getting better and better and better. Like, most people, they're writing a song a week. Like, just throwaway songs. Just to see, like, hey, if I could put some bars out. Like, not everybody can sit there and, like, just fucking put lyrics out, like, again and again and again. And not only is he, like, coming up with these good lyrics, but he has delivery. Like, I was thinking about this before you showed up. Like, if you listen to every one of these freestyles he's put out, they're all practiced. They're all, like, very well, like, nailed down. Like, he must have spent a couple of hours, like, rehearsing them, because they're not, like, freestyles off the top of the dome. They're the other kind of freestyle where it's just a verse written about literally anything, just for the sake of being good at lyricism.
Free of style.
Yeah, free of style. That was the 80s freestyle. The off the dome freestyle was something else that came after the fact. Look up your history for hip hop if you don't already know that. I know what I'm talking about. So he's rehearsing them, and he's also, like, coming up with these really intricate videos for them too.
Yeah.
Like, they're really interesting, the videos. Like, they're not music videos, they're just, like, animated videos, but they're very, very intricate. Where is he finding the time to do all this?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's the hardest working man in the game right now.
Does he have the time stone? Did he steal it?
One more plug on a artist who will pretty much touch on everything we talked about. Marlon Craft. If you don't know who that is, you need to go look him up right now. Check out his new song, Do the Work. That sums up all of the problems, pretty much, that people are having nowadays in society. Just all in one song. It's an amazing song. I would suggest everyone go look it up. Follow him. He's always dropping. He's probably one of the realest MCs behind Recognize. He's one of the realest MCs out there right now.
Definitely. And then you got a show coming up too, right?
Yes, my group, VanCro, will be performing for Chris Webby on 4/20 at the Roxy in Denver. We'd love to see everyone out there. Hit me up. I got tickets on deck, $25 a piece. That shit's going to be tight. It's selling fast, so get yours while you can.
I'm not bullshitting when I say this guy's a good rapper. I mean, I met him from seeing him on stage he actually opened for Mayday, and I mean, I thought he had a really interesting message. Very similar to the kind of shit that I like to do. It's all positive. It's all, like, real knowledge, trying to actually help people, enhance people's lives. It's what we were talking about, like, when you first got here, about how there's something special about music.
Right.
You can read self-help books and listen to gurus all day long, but if you hear a good message in a song, there's something about that that's more prolific. It really sticks with you.
And that's another thing. If I met someone who has never heard my music, and I said my lyrics to them in conversation, it wouldn't mean half as much as them hearing it with just the whole vibe of the music brought together. Music's a whole different entity in the world, and like even sometimes saying your lyrics wouldn't hit as hard as people hearing them in the music, in the mix. You got the words, the beat, everything, the feeling, the emotion. Like it's a different music is just it has a different power than regular speaking does. I mean, some people can give amazing speeches and everyone listens, but a lot of the time people don't just listen to words. You have to give them some sort of backing to it for it to be relevant and interesting enough for them to understand it and take it in. And that's literally what I'm making music for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what we need more of in the world. We need people putting out a positive message, not this. I like so. I have to say one last thing because this is one of those. Like I said, I had 3 points and I forgot the last two. But one of them I just remembered was about the idea of like dissing other people and like hating other people's music and beef tracks and shit. I have like a mixed feeling about that. Because I've hated on certain artists and I've done one or two beef tracks, but at the same time, I feel that you shouldn't do that because spreading that negativity is bad.
It's infectious.
It's very, very infectious. Like we need. So I'm being a hypocrite right now when I say that like a lot of this trap music that's about like guns and drugs and like being an idiot and fucking up your life and making bad choices, like that music is bad. So I'm technically hating on their music. I'm being a hater. Fuck them. Fuck that bullshit music. The reason why is because it's getting into the minds of kids and teaching them that that's the way you want to live your life. Like if you're
Right.
fucking 15 and you hear that song, you might actually adopt those ideas as that's the way I should be. That's what's cool. And like you're teaching that to children.
Right. Yeah.
Like an adult can discern right and wrong. Kids cannot because they like their brains aren't even fucking fully formed.
See, and that's why I try to be conscious of what I write in my
Exactly.
songs.
I do the
message,
exact same thing.
That's what you're putting out into the world. That's what you're addressing, and I guess more or less saying is right.
Exactly. Because like
So,
you have a target audience, the people that you're trying to talk to, but you really don't know who's gonna hear you. You have no idea who's actually gonna choose to listen to you.
Right.
And that's where you got to be careful because it could be someone. It could be someone who's an adult, but maybe who's like a fucking psychopath, and he was like off his meds, and he hears this weird song about how like I like to kill people because I sell meth, and next thing you know, he goes out and shoots up a school.
Yeah, you never know,
Like,
man. That's what.
But then you got a guy
Always
who's
have to
off
think
his.
about.
Yeah, but then you got another guy who's off his meds. He hears one of your songs about how stay positive, work on yourself, and next thing you know, he gets back on his meds. He's like, yeah, he's got a point. I should take these pills and I should work on myself.
And I mean, that's my goal. If I could affect one person a year positively, like I'm doing my job and I'm happy with that.
Yes.
Anyone
I
who
love that. That's beautiful.
That's my goal in putting this out is not just to bitch and moan on a track. It's so people know that I've been through shit too, and like here I am still living my dreams, doing everything I want to do. I make time for whatever I need. I work hard. That's all you can do in life. And I've been through all sorts of shit, and still, like, yeah, I'll rap about it in my songs so that anyone else who feels that way or has been through something similar, knows that there is always outlets. You can always talk to people. You can always, just listen to a song. I listen to music when I'm bummed out. There's certain songs I listen to, and I'm like, it gets you in that vibe, the right mind state, and then you get back to it. Not everything is so bad all the time, and that's what I try to promote.
Fuck yeah, I think we should wrap this up. Thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. Y'all guys, go check out VanCro on Spotify and Apple Music. Go check out Vander on SoundCloud. We got VanCro on SoundCloud as well. Some tracks all mixed about. Go check out all our shit. I'll give you links below. And shit, thanks for listening.
Check out Nameless as well if you haven't already. I'm sure you know who I am.